So from reading your bio, you have a great backstory, which I just wanted to check in with. I know you've probably said it like 50 million times, but it's really fascinating. So here goes. I understand you say you were broke working as a waiter in New York?
Yes, in New York and Ohio.
Oh, dual waitership.
Yeah, well, I started in Ohio and then I moved to New York.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. So waiting tables, and I know you can have a great night and you can have a horrible night. So someone commented one day when you went in, oh, there goes Obama. And it was what, another coworker? Or?
It was another coworker. I came into work one day and this girl goes up, here comes Obama. And everyone started laughing. And I laughed. She only said that because I was the only black guy that worked there. So, but everyone laughed and I laughed. But then I had an epiphany and I was like, you know what, like I could come up with an impression of this guy. At the time, he was still running for office. He hadn't become president yet. And I just had an epiphany, like what if I do an impression of this guy before anyone else does it, before he's famous, because if he becomes president, he'll be the most popular guy on the planet. And that will be a lot of steam for my acting career, so.
Right, and this was what year that you were?
2008.
2008, so you'd already launched a YouTube.
Yeah, I launched my YouTube channel in 2005.
Okay. And how much time were you putting into the channel 2005? Because those were in the easy days, it seems like. It's a little easier than now.
Easier, yeah.
Yeah.
How much time? I was doing it a lot, like basically all of my free time I was working on my YouTube channel.
Oh, okay. So you come back, were you tired sometimes from these shifts and just like, but then you like put in time?
Yeah, because that was like my escape. That was like my dream. So it's like in my head, doing these silly YouTube videos back in 2008, 7, 6, that was an escape for me. And in my head, I felt like I was a big director. You know, I get to do these silly sketches and you know, skits and whatnot, and it was my escape at the time, you know.
And what were people's comments to you about this YouTube thing?
Most people were supportive. You know, most people liked it. Online, almost anyone can find an audience, and so online, I had begun to find mine. And so people were watching, and most people were pretty supportive and about it.
Right. So then you do this Obama video, and it seems like your life pretty much changes from that point.
Right.
Do you remember the day that you launched it, and like what happened? Were you at work when views started coming in?
Yeah, I mean, I had already begun to get a lot of views on my own, but then when I put up my first Obama video, after that girl made that comment at work, I came home and I took a napkin that I had left over my apron, and I started just writing down ideas. And so I wrote down a whole script, and then I sat in front of the camera and performed it. And I was really nervous because I hadn't done impressions before then, and I thought people were gonna think it was stupid. And I put it up, and then just like tens of thousands of views started coming in, and I was like, oh, they like this, So, and then from there, I just started doing more, and it just took off.
So did you promote it in any way, or because was Twitter even around then? I don't even know.
I'm pretty sure it was, but I don't think I was. It's not like I had a following on Twitter or Instagram. I don't think Instagram was around back then. It just did what it did on its own. I had already built like a network of followers on YouTube. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
So then, how soon from that day that you launched it did you actually say? Did you give your 2 weeks, or maybe you didn't? And you said
no. No, I didn't give my 2 weeks right away. But around that time, YouTube had launched or a little bit before that time, YouTube had launched an ad revenue share program where content creators could make money from posting videos, and I had gotten accepted into that. So I was slowly beginning to make a little side change, not much at all. But then what happened around on election day, when he won, I posted a parody of a T.I. song, and it just blew up. And that was the moment from there that I was actually able to get out of a job because of ad revenue share income, and then also branded opportunities and outside opportunities, like hosting for Entertainment Tonight and things like that. Things got crazy really fast.
Do you remember the exact time frame? Was it a month, 2 months? Or?
That time frame of what?
From the time that you actually made that video, that first video, to where you were out of that 9-to-5 world.
It was about a month that
Wow.
I went from broke and unemployed at the time, because I wasn't even waiting tables by that point. I had gotten fired from my last waiting job and moved out here from New York to here. And so came here, was unemployed, was on unemployment. I started making videos, And I'd promised myself I wasn't gonna go back to waiting tables again. And I had just taken an interview at a restaurant and had gotten hired and was about to take the job. And then that video blew up and all this money suddenly came rushing in, and then I never went back to waiting tables after that.
When you were fired, was it a blessing or was it?
It was a blessing because it needed to happen. And it just, it freed me up to do other things, so.
Yeah, sounds like perfect timing.
Mm-hmm.
Have you had a day job since that first Obama video blew up?
I have not worked a 9 to 5 since 2008, sorry.
Did you ever envision that being the case? I know you went to a performing arts school, and I know all actors and performers, whatever, hope for that, but we also know that the chances are sometimes not in our favor, even for the most talented. So when that happened, when you were able to kind of cross over, how surreal or whatever for you was it? Like, did you have to pinch yourself? Did you feel unworthy for a little bit? Did you feel excited?
Well, no, I didn't feel unworthy because I don't feel like I've gotten to that level of success where I'm just like, whoa, I've expected to have successes, that's what I dream of, and like that's what I want. So it's been great, and it's been cool. It's been an honor. It's been a blessing. But I never really celebrate because I don't feel like I'm at where I want to be, and I think I've done some great things and had some great accomplishments, but I never really celebrate too much because there's so much further that I want to go. Does that make sense? Like,
absolutely. Do you think back to that day? What if that girl hadn't have been there and said, yeah? I mean, do you think back to what if I, not only that, but what if I hadn't have done anything with that Obama idea?
Yeah.
Where would I be right now?
Oh, of course. And like it's a massively humbling thought. Just like, what if that just never happened? Where would I be? Would I still be back in New York waiting tables? Would I be miserable? Would I even be acting still? And even that girl who made that comment, we're friends on Facebook, and I've reached out, like I wanted to reach out to her and be like,
thank you.
Yeah, and I reached out to her once and was like, hey, and I tried to talk, like say something, but she never even responded, and I don't know if she even remembers who I was, but I wanted to say, thanks, because a lot spun out of that comment. So yeah, it's interesting.
What do you think of people that move here? Because you did move here, you were waiting for maybe to find another job, and they wait to be picked. It sounds like you don't wait to be picked for things, you just do them.
Yeah, no, people who move out here have to really have a lot of zeal in their heart and their spirit. They have to really go for it. You can't come out here and just kind of like do the run of the mill auditions and just headshots, and that you have to really find avenues to, like, it's like driving in traffic. You got to find ways to swerve and move in and out and dip and switch lanes and get ahead of people. You really have to work hard. You can't wait to be picked. You cannot. You have to do it yourself. When I got along the roadside, when that came across to me, I didn't want to just do a filmed audition and just read the script. I wanted to shoot my audition that way, and then also film it like an actual scene in the movie so they can picture me in the role. I just wanted to take a step further. So you really have to hustle.
Right. You play Varney.
I play Varney.
Uh-huh. And Varney's going through some stuff.
Yeah,
with his girlfriend.
yeah. Varney is a little bit on the run.
Uh-huh.
He kind of considers himself a sailor who's left one shore but hasn't yet reached the next, so he's still kind of floating and drifting. And he's got a lot on his mind, because of some things that's going on with him and his girlfriend. And that takes him pretty far, or pushes him pretty far, I should say, into his drift,
Right. For someone that went to a performing arts school like you did, and is hoping to come out here or to New York and go on that whole like audition treadmill, I see it in people, and I know that some days they're elated when I see them, and other days they seem pretty down. So what would you say to those people? Like you said that you wouldn't advise someone to just stick to that audition route. If they want to say, well, I don't have a camera, or I don't know how to edit with Adobe or Final Cut Pro, I don't have anybody to shoot a web series with. Like, because I hear that a lot. Or when I become famous, I'm going to have people upload my stuff to YouTube, but not right now. What do you say to those people that want someone to do it for them and just want to do that normal route that a lot of us have learned that's the way you do it?
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with traditional route of auditioning. I audition. I love auditioning, and I want to get further into that circuit, and because auditioning is a route that I haven't needed to use yet. But it's something now that I'm seeking after because I want to do traditional Hollywood work. However, building your own audience can help get you into a lot of rooms though. I've gotten a lot of auditions just because people see me online. And so what I would say to those people who don't, say you don't have a camera, you don't edit, that's fine. But you can still at least, you have a phone. You know, you can take pictures and, you know, upload to Instagram or upload to Facebook or Snapchat or just anything to help build your presence online so that more eyes see you, you know.
What about the people that are afraid of being too, maybe they're afraid that they're going to look too boastful to people and they don't want to be the ones promoting themselves. They want someone to promote them.
I mean, that to me sounds kind of self-defeating. If you're going to be in an entertainment business, you have to promote. It's entertainment. So that's like, it comes in the package. You're in entertainment. You have to promote yourself. You have to not only audition when you're in the room, but you have to kind of audition at all times. It's like, for instance, a friend of mine is a fighter, and you know, someone suggested that he should never drink because he's trying to get a new fight, and he could get a call at any moment. So at any moment, someone could come calling for me, and if I'm not on top of my game and like promoting myself and like working on my craft and just putting myself out there at all times, you know, you never know, you might miss opportunity. So a man once told me, always just be ready. Always be ready. Always be ready, because you never know when a call's gonna come in. You never know when an audition's gonna come in. So part of that package is always promoting yourself, always being on, you know, and just being ready for that call to come in.
Do you have time to hang out with friends, or are you doing more?
Yes,
you do. Okay.
Yeah, I have time to hang out with friends.
You do? Okay.
I always make time for leisure.
Sure.
A little
okay.
R&R. I do, but the more that I focus, though, it does get harder, because it's like I push myself to focus more, because I like to go out and party with my friends, but you got to stay focused, and the more focused I am, the harder I work, the less time I have to hang out. You know, I have to say no to parties sometimes because, you know, there's more important things to do.
Do you see other people getting caught up in that, where they want to, I mean, we all want to have a circle of friends around us, but...
Yeah, it's inspiring. I do see other people get caught up in that, and it's inspiring because I have friends who are on TV, and that's where I want to be. And you know, when they have lines to read, or if they have a rehearsal the next day, or if they have a show to film the next day, they don't go out. You know, and I barely see them. And then every time I do see them, they're like, I got to go home and study lines. And while some people might think that's boring, for me that's inspiring, because it's like the proof's in the pudding. They're at home working, but they're also on a TV show. So who cares about free time, or who cares about going out when you can be on a show and be studying lines and living your dream?
So you started on YouTube, 2005. You've now transitioned to Vine. How many followers do you have on Vine?
On Vine, over 3 million.
Over 3 million, okay. Where did the idea to jump to Vine go, and how does the YouTube videos, or how do the YouTube videos and the Vine videos coincide, or are they two separate things?
I jumped to Vine because being in social media, again, promoting yourself, I'm always ready to latch on to something new in social media when it works. A lot of apps come and go, and like, it's not a, you know, I don't take them seriously, but if something works, I will get on that app because it's another avenue to promote myself. So that's why I did it. Do the two coincide? Not really. They're separate beasts in a way. They're apples and oranges. Vine is 6-second video, YouTube is longer format, so they're pretty separate.
Well, I know with YouTube in the past you had to be accepted to the partner program, but now anybody can monetize non-copyrighted stuff. How does Vine work? Can you monetize a video?
You can't monetize a video, but there's a lot of branding deals and branding opportunities. So people are actually getting paid for 6 seconds of work. Yeah.
And where do you, is there like a site where it's like almost like a Craigslist for Viners where you can offer your...
No, there's no site, but you know, brands come reaching out to Viners, and then that's usually how that works.
So first be on Vine, make the videos, and then...
Hit the audience, and then brands, you know, if you're good and if you fit their brand, they come calling.
Can someone, let's say, that has maybe 1,000 followers on Vine get a deal, some kind of deal, or would it have to be much higher?
Typically they would be looking at someone who is like either hundreds of thousands or over 1 million, typically.
Okay. We got a little work to do, I think. I want to go back to YouTube for a moment. What are some of the biggest mistakes you see people make on YouTube, whether they're a vlogger, whether they want to do, you know, talking head style documentaries, whatever? What are some of the biggest mistakes you see other YouTubers make?
Mistakes I see other YouTubers make. I would say one of the mistakes I see other YouTubers make is not being themselves. You know, people try to copy or be like someone else or aspire to be like someone else that they admire, when the best thing you can do is just be yourself, because no one can do you like you can do. So if you try to be someone else, you're not going to be better at them at that, because that's what they do, especially if they're already big for that thing. And people try to replicate what they see, and like, it's like when people, for many years, other websites were trying to be the new YouTube. You can't be a new YouTube is already, it's a done deal. You can't be another YouTube. You can't be a new Michael Jackson. So just be yourself.
So you see people maybe being too forced in a character type?
Yes. I definitely see people trying to be too forced or trying too hard, when it's just like what you just do what you want to do.
Well, so speaking of film, so Along the Roadside, it's just now coming out, is that right?
Yes, it's
Okay.
just now coming down. March 17th.
Oh, well, okay, St. Patrick's Day, which is tomorrow.
March Madness. Let's
Great.
get it.
Oh, okay. That's where my mind went, was St. Patty's Day. So who gave you the script? How did you see it, or were you called?
A friend of mine by the name of Danny Grodich, he's in the film. He plays Mitz, the cop. And I saw him at a party for, it was an event, and he's like, I'm in this movie. You should be in this movie too. I think they're casting for roles. You should check it out. And so he connected me with the director, Zorn. And then Zorn sent me the script, and I read the whole thing that night, and I loved it. And I said to the director, I said, listen, I don't know who's playing the lead, and you probably have already cast somebody, but I need to play this guy. And he was like, all right, well, read for it. And at the time, they did have someone in mind for the lead. I don't think they had officially casted him yet, but sent him audition tape, and shortly after that, I got a call, and they were like, you got the role. And I was like, yes. So yeah.
Was this your first lead in a dramatic film?
Yes.
It was?
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely my first film, first lead.
Did you feel you had to fight for the audition, or you just had to prove that you were ready? And
well, when you find out that they're already considering someone for the lead role, and they've pretty much kind of already casted it, yeah, it's a fight, But I'd like challenges.
I can tell that you like yeah.
So.
Mm-hmm. But you weren't into sports.
No.
But you.
Other than fighting.
Fighting. Oh, like MMA or.
Like martial arts, yeah.
Okay. Nice.
When I was in martial arts when I was really young, so.
Oh. Okay.
And now MMA is like, that's the only sport I watch, so.
Okay.
But I don't watch like football, baseball, basketball.
No, interesting. What is it about that challenge that I don't know. I mean, because some people cower to challenge like that. I don't know. I'm probably not explaining it right, but what is it where it seems like you come alive when there's like stakes on the line a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, I just think that's the mark of driven people. Like, we like challenges, the feeling of accomplishment, or feeling of overcoming something. So yeah.
Yeah, nice. Are you ever satisfied? Because that's another mark of accomplished people. Is they're never. You said earlier they always want to go.
No,
next.
I'm not ever satisfied. I'm not.
That's okay.
And that's not a bad thing. It's just I always want more. Where some people and friends and family pat me on the back like, oh, that's so amazing. In my head, I'm like, I could be doing way more. So.
What are your 5 best tips for someone to gain 1 million followers on Vine?
I don't have any tips for gaining 1 million followers. I can tell you what some good habits are to grow, but I wouldn't be able to directly give advice like, oh, here's how to get millions. But be yourself, be creative, like just be yourself, because what might seem weird to you, someone will laugh at. Like, there's someone who I follow on Vine, they have almost no followers, but I find that person funny because they're just themselves, and they're unique, and they're just awkward, and I just find it funny. So be yourself, because you never know who that will attract. Be consistent. Post often or frequently if you can, so that way people get used to checking back. Collab with people that are bigger than you, so that way you can get new followers. Let's say that's 3. Do I have 2 more? I would say that's the top 3. So, yeah.
What did the performing arts school teach you about acting that still stays with you today? That's not just about technique, but that's about the business of it.
My first acting teacher, I'll never forget her name, was Harlan Harris. And she always got on me about getting into the character because I used to be very shy. So I'd get on stage and I'd read the lines and I just was kind of off. And and she stopped. And she was one of those teachers that would just yell at you.
Oh.
She was like, "What are you doing?" And I remember that whatever script it was, I was playing someone in the Army. And I was coming home and seeing my wife for the first time in a long time. She was like, "You're in the Army, stand up straight, speak loud, be direct, be firm." Get into, like, she would just go in on me. And so she stuck with me because it's like, that's part of the reason now if I get a role, I like to try to attack it, like get into the character. I'm not the same shy kid I was back then. So now I take that with me and really dive into a role.
What changed the shyness?
Age, maturity, life changed the shyness.
So your advice for a shy actor?
Advice for a shy actor, get into some classes and get used to performing in front of and with people and get training. That'll open you up.
What if someone has a social phobia?
Same thing. If you have a social phobia, get into classes, get some training, and let a good teacher and also the people around you help you open up.
You talk about being driven, which is awesome, and I see that, and I also see the not being satisfied, which is great. I've seen a lot of driven people talk about that, which gets them higher, but is there pressure that you place on yourself, not just with the YouTube following and the Vine following, but also because you want to do more films like Along the Roadside and TV and things like that. Is there a pressure you feel from yourself?
To do what? To what?
To keep getting more roles, to keep, because it's an engine that you've got to keep
Well, yeah,
going.
I mean, there's always pressure because it's like people don't know what it's like to try to juggle a Vine account and a YouTube account, which is already extremely time consuming. Then thinking about how to keep growing your Instagram because you have to post certain times a day and post certain things to get more followers. And then on top of that, oh wait, I have this audition, I have to read lines for it, but wait, I have to shoot a Vine, I have to shoot a YouTube video. Oh wait, but I have more auditions. So it is very taxing. It takes a lot out of you, and there's a level of pressure. And then it's like, as an actor, you're not getting younger, so you want to get more roles faster, and it's like, yeah, there's a lot of pressure.
And then how do you deal with it? How do you compartmentalize it?
It's always a work in progress trying to compartmentalize it. It's I don't have it down, I don't have it perfect, but I just continue to build my social networks online and continue to hit auditions. And when my managers or my agent sends me auditions, I go into beast mode and I'm focused and I go in there and I know my lines, I go early and I'm just ready to perform and I have a great time auditioning. But I take it day by day trying to juggle all this because it's like, the internet, YouTube and Vine, it's still kind of like the Wild West. It's still undefined. Even though YouTube's been around for a while, Vine's newer. Vine is like the Wild West right now. And like social media is getting into the traditional Hollywood world. Everything's all mixing up and everything is still new. So I'm still, even at this point, I'm still learning.
Do you ever have days where you're not in beast mode?
Well, of course. Of course, it's hard. Because the difference is when you're a person like me who's big on social media, you don't work a 9 to 5. It's all on you to push yourself. There's no boss saying you need to be at work at 8 a.m. Unless I have a call time, that's different. But on a day-to-day, when I'm trying to juggle YouTube and Vine and Instagram and auditions, and it's just me, it takes a lot of drive to get yourself up every day and follow a routine without having someone push you. So that's a big challenge sometimes, especially when if you live in comfortably and you don't need to get up, it can be a little bit of a challenge. So, or unless you have interviews.